Welcome in, I'm Artress, and today I'd like to talk about a leader that I think is heavily overlooked in OP04, and that is Vivi. Now, I'm probably coping to a certain extent, very much so. However, I think there's a lot of untapped potential with this leader itself. So the reason why I think that we're not seeing much play with it so far is one, because the leader cannot attack, and two, the leader cannot attack. That's a huge minus for a lot of people. People will not like to play that. They want to be able to apply pressure every turn with their leader swing. However, Vivi plays very similarly to how, if you're familiar with OP02, how Luffy played, very much controlling the early game to mid-range game with the board control by playing units that can swing in and reduce the power of your opponent's characters. So there's characters like Otama or Brook or Chaka, which are able to do that. And then in the late game, you drop a little bit more of some bombs like Mihawk, or just using Red Rock to clear things that you cannot take care of. So I think this leader has quite a lot of potential, with obviously being red a very powerful color, and then blue in this set getting a huge buff with a lot of their events and some of the characters as well. So that being said, if you find anything in this video very useful, please make sure to drop a like and sub for more. It takes literally a second and it helps out tremendously for the channel. Thank you so much. Let's get into the deck list. So looking at it, we're running 4 Otama, 4 Brook, and 2 Sanji for our 2K counters. So Sanji and Brook are searchable off of the 4 Nami that we're running because it is a Straw Hat crew. Otama is going to mostly be used for 2K, however, it is the best utility 2K in the game and synergizes really well with some of our other units like Chaka and Marco. We're running, as I said, 4 Nami, which searches out quite a lot of cards in this deck. I think it searches out maybe 20-something, so about half of the deck when you play Nami you'll be able to find. So typically what you're going to be finding with this are, like I said, your 2K counters. You can find your Brooks, your Choppers, and any of your event counters like Rad Beam, Kick Course, Happiness Punch, and Red Rock. Brook is a card that we haven't seen a lot of play in many decks. I think you see it here and there, maybe in like a Luffy deck from time to time, or maybe like an Ace deck. But one of the reasons why we don't see much play is simply just because it is a little bit slow, right? You have to take a whole turn in order to be able to get the effect off. However, in a deck like Vivi, where you're giving your characters rush, Brook really excels. So it does really well with Marco and Chaka. Also, you can just use it to kind of clear the board if you have another body to be able to swing into some of the units and minusing your opponent's characters by 2K. 2 of your opponent's characters, by the way, which is huge. And then we're running 4 of the 5-cost Pop Marco, essentially, is what I call it. When on play, you can KO up to one of your opponent's characters with 3,000 power or less. So like I said, you synergize this with Brook. So you throw Brook down on your 4 Dawn turn. You then swing with Brook with 1 Dawn attached the next turn, and then play Marco to KO something that is 5k power or less. Really strong play. You can also do this with Chaka. If you play Chaka down, which we're running 4 of, which, if your leader is Vivi, which it is, give up to one of your opponent's characters minus 3k power for the turn, then KO up to one of your opponent's characters with cost 0 power or less. This is great for clearing out blockers or trading with bodies that are a little bit higher than yours. Once again, you can use this with Marco to minus something that is 6k power and then play the Marco to KO it. So really strong synergy with these 12 characters overall, and then you can pair that with Otama to really just take over anything basically that's like 7k power or less. We're running 3 Chopper, searchable off of Nami. Chopper is great because towards the end of the game, when you're starting to spend a lot of Dawn to give units rush, you usually have like 1 to 2 Dawn to play with defensively, so being able to throw a Chopper down and then leave 1 up for a defensive event is really strong. Like I said, we're running 4 Brook. Not much more to say there. By the way, you can run these as actual attackers. So on your 4 Dawn turn, if you want to throw a Brook down and you have nothing else to do, give it the rested Dawn and then give it rush and swing in for 5. Your opponent's probably going to attack into it the next turn. Sure, you're minusing a 2k from hand, but also you're kind of applying pressure and then getting pressure taking off of you. So gauge that with how you will. If that is a good trade for you, take it. If not, leave it in hand. We're running 3 of the 9-cost Mihawk. Just so you're aware, this list is based off of a couple of lists that I saw that topped, I think top 32 in Japan. There's like a couple of lists that ran Mihawks towards the top end of the deck. This is really good because, well, being able to drop a 9-cost body, 9k power, basically bottom deck something that is 7-cost or less is really huge. I was running the 7-cost Doflamingo, and keep in mind that this list is not 100% complete. It's still kind of a work in progress, but I think we're getting there. back to the story. I was running the 7-cost Doflamingo bounce, 7-cost or less, and I think bouncing a card back to hand is less desirable than just having a Mihawk and bottom decking it and then playing a Chopper or using that extra Dawn with a Happiness Punch or Rad Beam. This is a great tempo play, great tempo swing, handles a lot of 7-cost or lower, which in this meta you will come across quite often. And not a lot takes care of it other than the Red Rock. And this does apply a lot of pressure towards like Katakuri, which is one of your worst matchups. Then we're running 4 of the 3-cost Doflamingo blocker. This is great for being able to stack your deck and kind of be able to draw into what you need at the right time. And obviously it doubles as a blocker. You can use it as a swinger if you so choose, but oftentimes you'll just use it to protect your units as a blocker. Then we're running 4 of the 7-drop King. I saw this card ran in, I think, a video by Yeehaw Yadam, and I have to say that was a great idea. What ends up happening is sometimes when you're swinging with your units, you're using a lot of cards in hand to protect those units on the crackback because your opponent's going to be swinging in and trying to clear the board. So oftentimes you'll get towards like the middle to late stages of the game where you're maybe 3 or 4 cards in hand and you need to be able to refuel. King is straight gas. This thing, on 10 Dawn, you drop it down, draw a card, pay 2 Dawn, draw another card, and then swing 8k body at whatever you so choose, and then have a Dawn left for defense. I think this card is an absolute MVP of this deck. Love to see it. It applies so much pressure, and the opponent doesn't expect it. And then for our event counters, we're running 1 Rad Beam, which, why not? You're in red, so run it. We're running 2 of the Bad Manners Kit Course. This is a good card because a lot of your cards are going to be dead in hand, so you have a fair amount of counter events that maybe you can't use. You have Chaka, you have Chopper, and you have Mihawks, which sometimes you just can't play them yet, or it's just not the right time, and you need to be able to defend what's on the board, and so Bad Manners Kit Course can do that for you. Then we're running 4 Happiness Punch, which is basically a guard point, but you can divvy it up how you like. If you would like to give something -2 and then something else -1, you can do it. If you want to do all 3 on 1 and act as a guard point, totally up to you. But this card is really strong, and it is only effective really in Vivi. Outside of this deck, you're not going to be running it because I think your leader has to be active. Yeah, your leader has to be active for you to be able to use it, which is perfect for Vivi. And then we're running 3 Red Rock. This is actually searchable off of Nami. Nami doesn't stipulate what color you can search. It just says a Straw Hat Crew card. And so you can search off Red Rock with Nami if you are able to do that. And sometimes you're not able to answer really big threats. Like maybe they throw down a Mihawk of their own, or maybe they throw down a Big Mom or a Kaido or whatever it may be. This answers that and kind of helps you stay alive for a little bit longer, which is something that you do struggle with, is trying to stay alive so that you can gain that card advantage and then keep the bodies on board. Overall, though, I think this deck performs really well. It will take people by surprise. I'm not saying you're going to top a Treasure Cup or Regional, but I'm also not saying that you're not going to. So I hope some people take this into consideration and try this deck out. But in the meantime, let's take it into the sim and see how it does. All right, we're going against Doflamingo, which is a very grindy match for us. We're going to go second. We always will want to go second because we can use the leader ability off the bat. We're going to keep the hand. We do have a Mihawk, which is very nice. We also have a Chaka and a Brook, which will help to attack into their units. Keep in mind, though, that this is a very grindy match, so this will go down to who can draw more cards, which Doflamingo is pretty good at doing that with their Namis and, what is it, Gran Torino? Gran Tesoro. I've always messed that name up. Anyway, we'll use our leader ability and pass. Next turn, we'll throw down a Doflamingo for a blocker and then be able to set up our next couple of turns at least. If they go like a 5 or 6, we can look to counter out. If they decide to just pour all on, which doesn't look like they're doing, we'll just counter out and stay very healthy. I'm not exactly sure what they'd be using for 2 Dawn here. A Sugar. Very interesting. We're still going to play down the blocker. I think what we'll end up doing is we will keep it on top. We'd like to see the Marco. Next turn, we're going to be at 6 Dawn, Marco, Marco again, Happiness Punch, and then pass. Yeah, we're totally fine with this. Like, they're probably going to swing into the blocker, which that's what a blocker is there for anyway, to take the hit. If they swing 6, which they might, they could swing 6 and then go Nami, use the Nami ability. We can actually counter out of that. And then play our Marco to KO the Sugar. And then have a blocker still standing yet again, which is pretty nice. They don't, though. Yeah, we'll take it. There's no reason for us to defend that. The blocker did its job. Cool. And then we'll pass. I am so glad that they fixed this on the sim, by the way. There was a bug where if you played Marco to KO the Sugar, they would still rest it, which is pretty annoying. 7 Dawn turn. I think what we'll end up doing is we'll just... I think we just take this hit, right? Yeah, we can just take it. Our best course of action is actually just to swing... Just swing 6, see what they do. They might block with the Luffy. This is kind of just like a gut check to see like, oh, are you going to give me a card or are you going to use your blocker? Yeah, they use the blocker. Totally fine. We're going to throw King down and then pass. We draw a card off of it, which is great. We're going to use our Mihawk next turn on the Luffy. I didn't want to use Red Rock quite yet because I want to use Red Rock on their 10 drop, which will be coming up pretty shortly. Something to keep in mind is that if we decide to attack with Marco and King next turn, they can freeze it, and then we'll be a little bit in trouble, I think. But ultimately, I think it's worth it. I think it's worth applying a little bit of pressure to them, even if it means that these will be suspended for a turn. But ideally, what we end up doing is we just throw our Mihawk down, get rid of the Luffy, swing 6, swing 8. We're not going to do that in that order, of course. We'll swing 6, we'll swing 8, and then we'll throw down the Marco. This is such an interesting... Okay, sure. I don't know why. I don't know why. Who knows? I think we're gonna use our happiness punch just to use it. So that way they have to use more Dawn in order to swing with Luffy if they choose. They're not going to, which we'd love to see. All right, let's go Mihawk, swing 6. Then swing 8. This was a very sus play. I don't know why they chose to do this. And the next turn when they probably are going to play their 10 drop, we just Red Rocket. And then we're in good standing. They gave us 3 cards? Are you kidding me? No way. What? Did they make a mistake? Did they forget? Oh, what? Okay, opponent fumbled pretty hard there. Okay. Interesting. They gave us 2 cards and then took a life. Yeah, see, here's the 10 drop. Sweet. Figured as much. I'm just going to protect my life. Totally fine with that. Now, when we swing with our Mihawk, they're probably going to have another 10 drop, which that is obviously a little bit of a problem. But what can you do? Sure. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of this. This requires them to give us 2 cards out of hand. An event and then a 1K, which we're fine with them hemorrhaging cards. Yep. Whoo, baby. Love to see it. And then pass. We're in a better standing than they are. They have 3 cards, we have 3 cards, but our board looks really good. Sure, they might play another 10 drop here, whatever, so be it. But if they don't, oh man, it's looking good. It is looking good. I think we're doing this. I know this is going to be a really interesting play here. Typically, I don't want to do this, but I will, just for the sake of it. They probably didn't expect that. I have 0 cards in hand, which is totally fine. So yeah. Let's go ahead and draw. No targets. We're about to wreck their day, by the way. We are about to absolutely wreck their day. We'll swing 6 in. I probably should have done 7, but they're looking like they're taking it here, so we'll go ahead and just do this. Swing 7 again. I really don't like having like a low hand size, and it's really odd doing it in Vivi, but if it means applying a lot of pressure to the opponent, then we absolutely do that. Go 9 here. Then go 12 here, go down to 0 life, and then play a blocker. So they get to KO something here. What is it? They're going to go after the Chaka, of course, but then we just block it. And then we swing 15 per game, and I don't think that they're going to have enough to be able to counter out of it. Kind of a troll game. I don't think you're going to probably come across opponents like this too often, but and you're definitely not going to be running low on resources, but I definitely will take these wins. I don't think it was necessarily the opponent played horribly. They definitely were able to starve us of cards, which is totally the goal of Doflamingo. But one of the mistakes that they made might have cost them a little bit of momentum there. So yeah, ultimately though, this is kind of what the deck wants to do. It wants to tempo your opponent out and then have them kind of control your board if they can. If they can't, then you just start building this overwhelming board that they just have no way to deal with. Obviously that one turn where they swung all of the Dawn into the Mihawk and we were able to defend it by dumping our hand didn't feel great, but I think it won us the game. Okay, so Law is a deck that we're okay with if we see what we need early, so we're actually going to mulligan this to see if we can find a Chaka. We don't see it, which is unlucky, but maybe we can draw it in the next couple of turns. Chaka puts in a lot of work, and so does the 5-cost Marco. So hopefully we'll have any luck here. They decide to use their Bonnie thinking that it is safe. However, it is. I don't know what I was thinking. It is safe. No targets. We'll throw our Nami down. I think we'll just grab the Chopper because that's all we can. Next turn, though, we have the Marco to KO the Bonnie, which is nice. I'll probably swing 5 with the Law. We'll take the first hit, and then we'll just KO the Bonnie. Oh, okay. Double Bonnie. Wow. Right. Righty. I'm going to use this because I'm never going to use it otherwise. And then pass. I am never going to play Red Rock against a Law. It's always going to be a dead card in hand. It's just too expensive to bottom deck a 5 cost. I don't think so. So thankfully we got the trigger off of it. Now, next turn, what we could look to do is play the Chaka and then rush in. We can KO the Nami, which is pretty nice. Have a Chopper up for defense. We'll counter out of this one. They're probably going to play their Law. Yep. That's a good draw. 9 Dawn, we have a good turn. All right, so let's do this. I'm okay throwing a chopper down. Because what's going to end up happening is they're going to throw an Otama to KO the Chaka. They'll like, yeah, they'll use an Otama to get the Chaka down and then swing into it with probably their Nami, if I had to guess. We do have a chopper to be able to protect ourselves. Next turn, though, we're throwing down the Mihawk. I don't care. They got another Law, so they are high rolling. Let's go, baby. Depending on how they swing here, I might look to defend. Yeah, I might look to defend this, actually. If they're going to disrespect me by swinging with the Nami, I'm definitely going to do something here, for sure. We're going to require... Oh, they don't. They do not. I am surprised they did not swing with the Law there. I am honestly surprised. We're going to leave the Chaka up because we can't defend it, and we don't care to defend it, to be honest. So, I said that I might not play Red Rock ever against Law, but I might actually play it next turn, depending on what we have on our draw. That's actually pretty funny. What did they throw? They threw away 2 cards to protect the Bonnie? That's so interesting. How do we feel about letting the Marco go? Yeah, I'm okay with it. I'm not pressed to keep the Marco. I think we can clear their board next turn. Or get close to clearing their board next turn. Sure. Go for it, buddy. Do it again. All right, I think we go here. Go here. We go here and pass. Love to see it. Oh man, I feel bad for this Law player, although they are never out of it. That's the thing with Law, is like you can feel bad for a Law player all you want. Doesn't matter. They probably are going to find a way to come back. I'm going to be cheeky. I think we just go in. I think we just start beating face. Like, what they're probably going to end up doing is just swinging 5s at me with all of their units that are on the board right now. Man, that's hilarious. I started off saying I'll never play at Red Rock against Law, and literally played 2 Red Rocks against Law, which honestly could be better. If I had 3,000 Worlds, maybe we'd be looking at something that would be more Dawn efficient. But God bless, 3 Otamas is pretty nuts. Not gonna lie. If we can protect our Mihawk here, I think we might have game. They have to swing 7 into it. If they just stack all on their law. What are they doing? I think we defend. I'm not entirely sure what they're doing here. A Luffy, okay. Okay, so I think we have the game here because we know that this last card is an Otama. I'm gonna play Sanji down. Use the ability. Swing 7. And then just do one giant swing with Mihawk. Yeah. That was a very interesting game. Obviously, Chaka put in a lot of work. Marco is great here because you're KOing a lot of their characters. What was the actual MVP of this match, though, was being able to get that trigger of the Red Rock to bottom deck the Bonnie and then use the Marco to KO the other Bonnie, setting them back. Although they did see a fair amount of Law, I think they saw 2. Still, it was kind of hard for them to come back from there. And Red Rock was really strange. Usually, I don't like to use it against Law, but it worked out to our favor here. All right, going against Rebecca, this is going to be a staring contest for sure. Hopefully, we do not break eye contact with this one, though. So, Battle of the Waifus from OP04. I think we keep this hand. We are going to look to Red Rock their Luffy's and then use the Chaka to be able to handle their Orlumbus. This is going to be a difficult matchup, not going to lie. Rebecca has to play it really well, of course. But they are able to KO a lot of our units that do the heavy lifting in the early stages. So like Chaka, Brook, those cards are very easy for Rebecca to knock out. Although I don't see many Rebecca's running Perona. This is definitely an interesting tech that I'm not sure I agree with. So let's see. Maybe it's good. Maybe it's not. I think in order for the Orlumbus's effect to take place, they have to KO like a Dressrosa type character. So this is pretty useless for the most part. Let me know what you guys think about Perona. I don't think Perona fits within the Rebecca deck, but maybe I'm missing something here. I don't know. Once again, I'm somebody that thinks 10-drop Kuzan is fine in Rebecca, so I've heard a lot of people say that it's trash, so I don't know. What do I know about this game? Next turn, we'll throw down a Brook. And just pass. What, are they just not running Dressrosa characters? What's going on? What the hell? Yeah, Brook pass. Brook is great because if we can get a Marco off the top, then we're able to really utilize Brook's minus effect and then pop something like an Orlumbus. Chaka here is really good. We can start putting in some work, hopefully pretty soon. Bottom deck, that's fine. I think we play the Chaka, and then we also play a Doflamingo and set up our own stuff. So looking at what we have, we're going to be on 8 Dawn next turn. We'll probably play the Sanji. Let's grab the Mihawk. Maybe play the Nami down and grab a Brook, because we don't need another Red Rock. That's fine. Let's pass. Seeing 3 Red Rock against Rebecca is not the worst thing in the world, but it really, like, putting the emphasis into staring contest for sure. Because at that point, they play something, we bottom deck it. They play something, we bottom deck it. Like, we're playing Croc at that point, I guess. This is their Luffy turn, so they might put the Luffy down. Don't. That's fine. Not a problem. 3000 Worlds is a really good tech for, yeah, I was going to say Rebecca, but also Vivi as well. The top 32 lists that I saw were running 3000 Worlds. I definitely agree with it. All right, so we'll throw this down. Not use it just yet. We're going to use Nami to get a replacement. Actually, we can get a happiness punch. Perfect. Let me throw the Doflamingo down. And next turn, we're going to be playing a Mihawk, so we want to draw into a 2K. Then what we'll do is we can draw a King. 2K. Chaka. Brook. If we don't play anything here. Yeah, that's fine. We'll pass. Double blocker feels good because what's going to end up happening is if they throw a stage down and then use their Luffy to attack into my Chaka, I can just double block it. And then at that point, Mihawk it. So that's really good. I highly doubt that they're running... Well, actually, who knows? At this point, they're running Pironas, they're running blocker laws. They could be running anything. So I was going to say I doubt they're running the 10-drop Kuzan, but we will hold on to our red rocks for that just in case. Sanji's also a really good card in this matchup because if you're sitting there not doing anything and your opponent's not doing anything, it's okay to take life to get card draw off of it. I might even do it again. Although I have a feeling they're probably going to just attack into the Sanji. If I were them, I probably would do that. I'd probably just put one on Perona, attack into the Sanji. Because, like, I'm probably not going to defend it, right? Cavendish, interesting. I think we get rid of the Cavendish. The reason why is because it is a little bit of a threat. It's like a pseudo Luffy. It can attack active characters. We can actually block this because they're swinging threes. It's going to require them to swing their Sabo. They're probably a little confused, not going to lie. Do I want to protect my blocker? It kind of acted as a double blocker. No, I think we're fine. The problem is if I use Chaka to swing in. Oh, actually, I think we're fine. I'm going to swing at the Sabo, require a 2K. They're going to give it, but it's just requiring them to use it. Yeah, totally fine. We're fine with that. And now we're okay letting our Sanji go because we've gotten good use out of it. We have attacked them, taken a life from them, and then also gotten a 2K out of their hand with it. And we were able to draw 2 cards off of it. So great use here. Love to see it. Totally fine with Nami going. It's fine. It's not the end of the world for us. We don't care. We really don't. Do we be cheeky again, though? If they go 3, if they go Perona into the Sanji at 3 and we block with the Doflamingo, are they going to just cold swing into... Ooh, that's not bad. Not bad, not bad. I'm glad we saved on to our red rocks here. Now we can just get rid of it. I don't think it's a good use of our Dawn to... The card draw is very tempting, I'm not going to lie. I think we are getting a little too low on health, though. So let's just swing 3 here. Either give us a 2K or block. It doesn't really matter. Swing 9 here. We'll throw down a chopper, and we'll leave some Dawn up. We'll make them think we have more than we actually do. Okay, so now this is where they might throw their Luffy down, and if they throw Luffy down, we are as prepared as we can be, I guess. Red Rock came up huge there. They are running 10-drop Kuzan. So yeah, I'm glad that we held on to it. Obviously, there's nothing we could have done there, really. We could have used it, I guess, on a Sabo early, but I'm glad that we held on to it for that case. Usually, they're going to run 2 to 3 10-drop Kuzans. So we might see another one happen here shortly. They're going 7, KOing our Chopper. We just do this, and then we can drop a Brook. And then next turn, what we'll end up doing is we'll use the King to refuel our hand and swing 8. We'll go 8 here, and then if they decide to block, which they probably will because they have 2 blockers here. We'll do it again. We'll swing 9 here and make them block. They'll probably use the Doflamingo blocker. And then we'll give them a hard decision by swinging 8 at it with our King. They decide to let it go. All right. We'll just swing 8 at life. This is definitely an interesting build, running the Doflamingo and Peronas. I can see it working in a sense. I don't agree with the Perona per se, but I definitely think the Doflamingo blocker is okay in this kind of list. But based off of what I'm seeing so far from what they're playing, it looks like they're going to be hitting less targets with their leader ability, which is not something I really think is a good idea. They have bottom decked 2 Red Rocks. I love to see that because that means our Mihawk can survive for another turn, hopefully, unless they have one in hand, which is always possible. Blocker, which a blocker is definitely juicy for us. Ah, no longer juicy. Unfortunate. Now we can no longer KO it. That is definitely unlucky. I'm going to keep the Sanji on the field, and I'll probably replace the Nami with another Doflamingo blocker so that we can see the top part of our deck and see if we like to keep it. We'll save the Marco for the next turn so that we can KO a blocker or not. I don't know. If they play another Sabo, ooh. That changes everything. That changes everything. All right, we're going to swing 8 first. Probably block here. Swing 9. Probably block here. And then pass. Feels rough, man. Feels Mihawked. This is why this card is so good against a lot of decks, is it just swings the momentum heavily into your favor. The only time that this card doesn't really do good is if you're like going against like a Croc deck, because it's really hard for you to bottom deck a lot of their stuff, or even like yellow is a little bit more difficult because you can't bottom deck Katakuri or Big Mom, only the 7 cost. You can't even bottom deck Yamato either. So card has its place in the meta. I'm glad I'm testing it out here though. It definitely feels good being able to just get rid of something. And then swing 9 the next turn. Oh, gonna be a blue player, I guess. So they're setting up a wall of defense here. Interesting to see. We're gonna require them to block. We're gonna just see what they do. Just swing empty first. I can probably go 8. Nice. 2Ks out of hand. That's awesome. They'll probably take this one and they might block the next one. but they have no way to answer this board. It is absolutely disgusting. They take it. All right, so they either have to wall up or somehow get rid of both Mihawks. Get rid of everything, basically. Which the only way they can really do that is if they play a Luffy, go King Kong Gun, and then swing twice into Mihawk. However, because I've been drawing a lot in this game, I have lots of counters, and I also have the Doflamingo blocker to be able to safely hide behind, so I think this game is pretty much in the wraps. Now, if the opponent was using a little bit more of a standard list with Rebecca, then we might have something to worry about. We didn't see a single Orlumbus, which is very strange. Yeah. Yep. Called it. Look at this. Look at this. What did I say? Luffy with a King Kong gun. They're about to be extremely disappointed. They'll probably concede, which feels bad because I like playing Rebecca, and if I was on the opponent's side, I'd be very sad right now. Well, there you have it. That was Vivi in a nutshell. That was definitely a rough game for that Rebecca player there. Feel kind of bad for them overall, but hey, that's the way it goes sometimes. I think this deck has a great place in the meta. I think that when we're looking at the meta as a whole, being able to have an aggressive rush type playstyle, but also being able to, in a way, control the board with like minusing power and then also playing Mihawks feels really good. I think there's definitely a place for this. Like I said, this deck list is not 100% complete. If you have ideas on how to improve it or things to change, please let me know in the comments. Of course, love to see what you guys say there. And if there's any decks that are from OP04 that you want me to highlight, please let me know in the comments. I think the next one I might do is Blue Purple Kaido. However, let me know what you guys think, what you want to see. Make sure to like and sub for more. We'll have another video next week, and hope to see you guys there. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next week.